and so the point is that this God image is an archetype. It's in us all, okay? It's in us all. And when it constellates, like a mother being a mother, then there's no stopping it. It's coming through. And you're going to experience it, which is Edinger's point in the lecture, which is it's an encounter with the transpersonal self. And once you've had that encounter, then you don't need any creed. Okay, you don't need any religion. Doesn't matter. Okay, because you understand it. And that was Jung's point to Bill Wilson for Alcoholics Anonymous, and what Edinger said, which is for patients over 35 years old, they did not achieve a healing unless they had an experience with God. Okay, and his point was that the purpose of Jungian analysis, if you go into Jungian analysis, the purpose is for you to have that experience. Okay. And, you know, one of the warnings that is given about studying Jung is that once you know about the opposites, okay, then you have to understand that the opposites are everywhere. Okay, every time anything comes into thinking, anything at all, then there's always an opposite to it. If you're into red wine, okay, there's an opposite, white wine, right? Okay. If you're or
half full, half empty would be a good.
Half full, half empty, and so what Jung was looking for and talked about, and we haven't even talked about it tonight really, but there's a place where all these opposites meet, okay, and and right, Jung was about the fact that it's the burden of man. In fact, I think I have it here. That once you experience the opposites, then you experience everything as opposite, and it can tear you apart unless you can step above it. Okay, and so there's a book called, I thought I had it here.
It's like the red pill, blue pill. Once you take it, you can't go back. Once you're enlightened, you can't go back.
Right, okay, so there's a book called Psychic Energy. Psychic Energy by Esther Harding. Okay, and Esther Harding's book, we started last year with this paragraph, so I might as well start this year with this paragraph as well. So this is the first paragraph of the introduction of Esther Harding's book. Esther Harding was a direct follower of Jung. Okay. Beneath the decent facade of consciousness, with its disciplined moral order and its good intentions, lurk the crude instinctive forces of life, like monsters of the deep, devouring, begetting, warring endlessly. They are for the most part unseen, yet on their urge and energy life itself depends. Without them, living beings would be as inert as stones. But were they left to function unchecked, life would lose its meaning, being reduced once more to the mere birth and death, as in the teeming world of the primordial swamps. In creating civilization, man sought, however unconsciously, to curb these natural forces and to channel some part, at least, of their energy into forms that would serve a different purpose. For with the coming of consciousness cultural and psychological values began to compete with the purely biological aims of unconscious functioning. Okay, so all other creatures are in this biological functioning world, and we have created culture. We've created a restaurant where we can meet every week, for example, and so that was one of the important things. But the other thing is, Harding in this on page 25 talks about the 3 stages of Buddhism that are important. And what she talks about is, in the first stage, you're a very rough-hewn person, right? And then you have to live in the world of karma, which is Buddhist for what goes around comes around, and if you do something bad here, you're going to get it over here, right? Okay. The second phase is to understand that all the world is duality. Okay, that's the Buddhist term for opposites. Okay, and so people of mature intelligence, let's say, can deal in this world of opposites. Okay, and then the third level, which is the wisdom level, okay, would be people who can be above the world of opposites and understand that there are 2 sides to this story. So if, given today, it's 9/11, if we say that, okay, 9/11, there were 2 sides to the 9/11 story. Okay, there was American consciousness, which was asleep about what we were doing to the rest of the world. Okay, and there was the rest of the world, part of which was upset enough to crash 2 airplanes into the World Trade Center. And what were they upset about? But what happens is these sorts of things come up in opposites all the time, extremes, and they get pushed out of the system, right? So the problem with terrorism, the good thing about terrorism, it gets people's attention to your problem. Okay, and that's what terrorists are trying to do. They're trying to get people's attention to their problem. Okay, the bad thing about it is, oh, by the way, if you commit a terrorist act, now we know you're there. And oh, by the way, the rest of us who are in the majority are going to come and kill you. And you're not going to exist anymore.
You know, those 3 stages, I've mentioned this before, there's that Donovan song, but it also comes from Buddhism, I think. It's first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. You know it?
And then there is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea. First there is a mountain because you're experiencing it. You're like you're a kid or something.
Right.
Then there is no mountain because you're in duality. You're just you're looking at representations. You're not really seeing the mountain. And then you get beyond duality and there's the mountain.
It's like that. It's very definitely like that.